Scooby-Doo, it's everyone's favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast. And today we're going to discuss the Canon EOS R7, which is a new, one of their newer models came out. It's mirrorless, it's like 30 plus megapixels. It's small and lightweight, but it's not miniature. It seems to have nice build quality. I just recently purchased it a couple of months ago. Well, it was such a crappy winter, I couldn't go out much, and now that it's more in the springtime, I'm being able to try it out. And what I did is I tried it out on the Canon zoom lens EF 70 to 300 millimeter 1.5 to 5.6 L IS USM. And you know what? It's a really good combination. It seems to me, even though this is an L lens and it's an older model, you know, all the EF EOS lenses have been discontinued. And I had this for quite a number of years. And, well, it's just matched to the megapixels on this camera. Now, you think when you buy a camera, why is it so expensive? Because they have a lookup table for all their lenses on how to correct all the aberrations, right? So it's good for airplanes. You could do close-ups with it of flowers if you stop down enough. Of course, I had to use the mount adapter EF-EOS-R. So, it was goofy for a while, like it wouldn't autofocus correctly or something. So I had to go in the menu and change all this autofocus business, and now it seems to work okay. But sometimes I have to help it along. So I took a handful of pictures, and it was the first pictures in this video. Some birds, some planes, and you'll see that. I'm going to take this off. It weighs a ton. This thing is like all metal construction. It weighs a ton. My God, it is a massive lens, but it's good. It's a really good lens. If you could pick one up discounted, go get one. I highly recommend this lens on the R7. But I also bought this lens used, and it's discontinued because all their EOS lenses are discontinued. Damn. This is the EFS, so that means it's for a crop sensor, but since this is a crop sensor, it doesn't matter. Canon EFS 18 to 135 image stabilizer Nano USM. It's got AF, manual focus, stabilizer on and off, but this thing had that too, right? In fact, they had stabilizer mode 1 and 2, stabilizer off and on, and AF and manual focus also. This thing had a motor that you could click on it and have a motorized zoom, but I've never seen one for sale used. What is it? Let's look. Let's move some of this stuff out of the way. Canon zoom lens, 1835, 3.5 to 5.6. This is really well balanced with this camera. It weighs, you know, it doesn't add much to the weight. 18 to 135. Very useful focal length for this, absolutely. This autofocus worked really good, but that's after I made all adjustments to get this to work, and it works really good. So I went to the park, snapped twice, and I snapped up a bunch of pics. I was very satisfied with them, and apparently this has a much more robust lookup table. Like I said, there's memory in this camera, and they have correction profiles where whatever wrong with this lens, part of the camera processes it to correct all the images, and it works really, really good. It does close-ups, even in 135. It has a bit of a reach, 135, to get things far away. Of course, I was shooting mostly on bright sunny days, so I stopped down to f10, 11, 16 like that, and I was very pleased with the results. The R7 has a wide dynamic range, although I have it on faithful setting or something like that, or neutral. I noticed the software that I use to post-process everything, it has an auto-correct feature, and it works really good with this camera. It works really good with some cameras and not good with other cameras, which I can't figure it out. And so it saves a lot of time rather than me manually adjusting the levels or the highlights or the shadows or, gamma and saturation. Sometimes one click, boom, it's perfect. So I can't say enough about this. Of course, I'm not going to go on and on about it, but it's the EOS R7, really nice camera. I could highly recommend it. I'm a Canon guy. I always said a Canon guy, but I shoot a lot of Sony. I shoot a lot of Nikon. And this camera made me revitalize my camera guy sensibilities. It's up there. It's like a Z class, the Nikon Z class, like the Z6 and all that stuff. It's not full frame like the Z6 is, but it's still got that wide dynamic range that I'm still not used to it yet. It like freaks me out. The pictures don't look right because they're so wide dynamic range. I'm used to this clipped, shadows and highlights, and you had to play with them. These, you almost don't have to play with them. And like I said, the software I'm using, I just click auto adjust color and boom, it pops right in. So why don't we just jump right into the slideshow and then you can check it out yourself. And maybe you too will become a Canon guy. These couple of pictures in the front here are with the 7300 L lens. And these are all 1:1 crops. That's a 1:1 crop. That's amazing, isn't it? Damn. It's a good lens. Look at that. That's amazing. 1:1 crop. Wow. This is a 1:1 crop, but it's like a downsized crop. So I cropped it for this bird, and then I downsized it to fit the screen. Same thing here. Red cardinal. I love to listen to red cardinals. They're so cool. And then I went to the park with the 18-135, and I shot some, early spring days, the weeping willows blooming, pussy willows, stuff of that nature. And, the 18-135 and the R7 is an outstanding combination. There must be a look-up table in the camera's memory that corrects all the aberrations of this lens, and it just worked out really well. I was very satisfied with the results. The R7 has a wide dynamic range that, it's taken me some time to get used to because most of the cameras, they clip the highs and the lows, and they have a infinite range, but it's narrow. Within a narrow band, it's infinite. Shades of tonal shades, gradations, but this thing has a wide dynamic range. And it's like, I'm just not used to it. And the colors are not overly saturated, but they're not muted. But on occasion, I used the auto color correct feature in my software, and it pops right in. Of course, it doesn't work 100% all the time. Sometimes it gets funky, and then you just got to go back to using it manual. Nice lens. This lens has a good resolution, a good definition. It matches the chip really well. I wish Canon would, give me some money, but, I'm just doing this on my own to let you, dear viewers, to know that this is a combination you should get. The R7, Canon R7 mirrorless camera, the 18-135 Nano. Now all the EF lenses, they're all discontinued. So now is the time to pick them up. As people migrate to these the R system or the M system, you pick them up and use an adapter. Now, I had a little bit of trouble with the 70-100 with the autofocus, and I adjusted some things in the menu. They had a couple of tabs for autofocusing. So I just kept changing them until it worked right. Now it seems to work really good. So I'm going to leave it the way it is. I don't know if that's across the whole product range or just the specimen I got or what may have you, but now I bought these because I had the EF system, You know, I started out the original digital Rebel, then I went to the XT, the XCI, the T1i, the T3i, the SL2, and then I stayed pat. And then I branched out into other camera formats like the Sony, their mirrorless cameras. And I was buying them used at discounts, heavy discounts. Nikon used at heavy discounts, except I bought the Z6 new as a kit. And I'm glad I bought that. It's a nice camera, wide dynamic range, but this matches it. The Z6, you understand, is full frame, but this thing is a crop sensor. This is where the auto color correct. It worked on this particular, a couple of photos amazingly. The park. It's a cool park. Just think I live next to this park. I don't live next to the Himalayas, the Grand Tetons. I don't live by Zion or Bryce Canyon. I live by this park. It's a less than a 15-minute drive to get there. And you can walk around. They got lakes, hills, some ancient artifacts there, and back trails. And it's just a cool place to go and test lenses. That's what I do. I'm not taking pictures of the park in as much as I'm testing these lenses and cameras. And what have I learned from all these vintage lenses? You know, is the 18 to 135 vintage? No, right now it's a classic lens. It's got to be a little bit older, then it'll turn into a vintage lens. One thing I learned is that the vintage lenses, all the non-AF lenses, they could do 20 megapixels in the heartbeat, and some of them will do 30, no problem. Really. I mean, they're almost all fine performers. They all have a slightly different look. Maybe some are cooler, some are warmer. It's hard to put your finger on it. But the camera seems to make, look at this. This is ancient technology where they bored into this. How did they do that? Wow. And that's right in my backyard. So I didn't have to go to Egypt or Peru to see boreholes. And here's a sort of a macro close-up of a pine cone. That's pretty cool. That's a 1-to-1 crop. That's amazing. Nice lens, nice camera. Gotta admit that. Here's some sort of goose feather. Couldn't resist taking a picture of that. And it was really windy that day. There's the goose that the feather fell off of. There weren't too many people in the park because it was so windy. The wind chill factor made it cold. So I had the park pretty much to myself, which was nice. And it was bright and sunny. The sky was about as clear as it ever could be. Oh, my solar panels made a lot of juice that day, too. They have a beaver pond, swampy areas, hills and dales. That's a nice camera lens combination, the R7. You know, I generally don't rave about the cameras I buy. They're just, you know, to put lenses on, and I hope they're good enough to show the differences. But you know, this is an amazing combination. I think they did something. Canon did something. They said, oh yeah, the 18 to 135, let's put a lookup table in to correct all the aberrations. And, oh, this rabbit was in my driveway. How about that? And then here's a buzzard was flying in front of my front stoop. And well, that's about it. And don't worry, there'll be more forthcoming.